Hi, how's it going? In my ray tracing work, I was starting to look at Bezier surfaces and it just wasn't quite working. The way a Bezier surface works is you have some sort of, we'll just say a general parametric surface, so some sort of curved surface, put some grid lines there, and we're tracing a ray and solving for the intersection point with that surface. Now, for 4 control points in each dimension, that would be 16 points. That comes down to solving a degree 16 equation, which is one thing, but then the formula which has to be solved is even more annoying. And so I decided that I'm going to start looking at ray marching. How does ray marching work? Well, what you've got in your scene is you've got a bunch of objects, whatever they look like, and you shoot a ray out into the scene. So if I just fill in with a dotted line what this ray would do, it would emanate outwards, something like that. In fact, I'll just do another one. Okay, so this ray has an origin and a direction. What we do is we step forward in that direction, but we can actually be a little bit adaptive here. We can look at all the objects in the scene and we can say, what is the closest that we are to anything? So if we look at this ray, we are close to this blob in front of us, and the distance is about that much. So if we just imagine drawing a sphere in of that radius, we can step forward by that much along the ray before we even possibly hit something. So we step one step forwards, and then we want to step forwards from here. So we look again, what's the closest distance to anything in the scene? Well, again, it's that same blob, it's very close. So we step forwards by that much, and then we step again. So you can see when we get close to objects, we take small steps, but then as we get further away from objects, we start to take larger steps. Something like that, until the point at which the ray hits something. Now, the benefit of this ray marching, or the method I'm doing here is called sphere marching, is that it's a really good numeric approximation for more mathematically complicated functions. This code that I'm going to work through is going to be adapted from my web GPU ray tracing. I'm just going to do the whole thing in ray marching as well. So let's jump into the code and implement it. Okay, so here we are in the start point of the repo. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole code because I have gone through this before in my web GPU series. I just want to focus on the specifically ray marching parts of this. So we can open up the source folder, have a look at the shaders, and I've got this ray marching kernel, and there's a few things that we need to do. So I'll just super briefly work through this. Let's say we have some sort of description of a sphere object and some sort of description of a ray object. At the start of this code, we get our position on the screen, and we use that in order to, well, firstly, determine how far left or right of the screen, how far up or down on the screen we are, and then create a ray and orient it. Anyway, but all of this I've gone through before. Now, at the moment we have a pixel color, which is just this color here. And if I run this, we'll see that right now everything is purple, as it should be. Excellent. So now the challenge is, let's implement the ray marching. So what we need, I'll leave this for now. Right down the bottom, we're going to create a signed distance function. Now, like I said, this is going, like I've written here, this is going to return the distance from the ray's origin to the sphere's center. So we'll define a function which is going to be called distance to sphere. I'm going to take a ray and a sphere, and I'm going to return a 32-bit float. Okay, now I'll just define the types here. I'm going to play around a little bit. I'm going to use pointers. Why not? Because WGSL has them. So this will be a pointer with pointer to a function level address space of a ray object. And similarly, the sphere will be a pointer to a function level address space. Just function level just means local variable, pretty much. Okay. So it says here, it should return the distance from the ray's origin to the sphere's center. So how would we do that? Well, first of all, we'd take the ray's origin, subtract the sphere's center. And to get the distance, we want to get the magnitude of that, which is given by the length function. By the way, with these stars and things, that's just dereferencing the pointer. That would give us the distance to the sphere. Now, in order to make this a signed distance function, it says here, it should be positive if we're outside the surface of the sphere, 0 if the ray is sitting directly on the surface of the sphere, and negative if we're inside. So it's actually pretty straightforward. All we need to do is subtract the sphere's radius, and that will basically sign the function. So when we are at a distance radius of the center, this expression will be 0, we will be on the surface. If we're inside, then the distance will be less than the radius, and so it will be negative. If we're outside, it will be positive. Okay, so there we have it. We've implemented our signed distance function. Let's go back to the top of the shader. Okay, so we need to march the ray forwards until it touches the sphere or misses. So in our iterative algorithm, we're going to take 32 steps. So the first step is get the distance from the ray to the sphere. So we'll say let the distance, that'll be float 32. We will take the ray and the sphere, and just don't forget to get the pointers of those with the address of operator. So then we have, if the ray is close enough to the sphere, set the color to the sphere's color. Okay, so let's go, if the distance is less than something, right? Just going to modify this a little bit. So I'm going to set a constant value. I'll call it epsilon, so that I can change it later if I want. And then this is just a little thing, but if we are really inside the center of the sphere, then we'll get a really large negative number. And actually, I don't count that as close enough to the surface. So what I'll do is I'll take the absolute value of the distance. I can't imagine this will ever be an issue, but there we have it. So if that happens, then we need to set the pixel color to this value here. So I'll leave this next point. I'll just go to this point here. March the origin of the ray forwards by the appropriate distance. So in ray tracing, the origin never shifts, but in ray marching, the origin is going to count as the current position of the ray. So we'll say, okay, take my ray, which by the way, I should be using up here as well. We'll go my ray, take the origin, step it forwards by distance, and we'll use that to scale. So we step that distance in the direction of the ray. Let me just restart that. What have I got here? There we go. Okay, so excellent. So we've got the sphere. Now, super important to pay attention to this render time down the bottom. So right now we're taking 32 steps. If the ray hits, if the ray misses, whatever. If it misses, it'll take 32 steps. If it hits, it'll take less than 32 steps. Let's dial this number up. So let's go 2048 steps. This is really bad. So now we see that the render time has gone up quite a lot. So we'll need to add some early exit tests. So obviously, if we get close enough to the surface of the sphere, then we should just brake. We are done. Okay, now that has improved it, but I reckon we can improve this performance even more. It's pretty good at the moment, but next thing, is it possible to check if the ray has missed the sphere? So let's say that we want the ray to just walk a certain distance, and if we get a certain distance and we don't hit something, then that's it. So the way we could implement this is we could say, okay, we'll go make a constant called max distance and give it some sensible value. And then we'll have a variable which I'll call total distance marched. So what I'll do is I'll just test every time I'll say, have we gone far enough? If we've gone further than 999 distance and not hit something, then we can just break. We're done. That's fine. It's also important to increment by the distance, and also important to look at the absolute value of the distance. For some reason, I can't think of a case where this would happen, but imagine that the ray, for whatever reason, just keeps stepping inside and outside of a sphere surface, so it'll just keep oscillating. Let's not do that. So we'll just go run that again, and there we have it. Now, even though in the worst case we would be taking 2048 steps through this loop, we can see that in practice we're taking very little, doing very little extra work. So I'm happy with that. In the next video, we will have a look at multiple spheres, getting that set up. Anyway, yeah, I like ray marching. It's nice and elegant. So yeah, see you again soon. Bye.